I cooked for the alien woman, but I didn't know it would awaken her mating instincts. The storm came without warning. Lightning slashing the sky in jagged streaks, the wind howling like some ancient beast. Rain pounded the metal roof of my outpost shack, somewhere on the edge of Sector Delta 7, deep in contested alien territory. The other soldiers had long since evacuated. I stayed behind for repairs and quiet. That's when she arrived. I found her slumped against the side wall, soaked and shivering, blood trailing down her side. An alien woman, tall, silver-skinned, and draped in what used to be ceremonial armor. Her eyes fluttered open when I touched her shoulder. "Peace," I said, raising my hands. "I'm not going to hurt you." She tried to speak, but her voice cracked and gave out. I brought her inside, placed her near the heater, and wrapped her in a thermal blanket. She was an Alari, one of the diplomatic races, not usually involved in frontline warfare. What was she doing out here, half dead and alone? She slept for 12 hours. I kept watch, listening to the storm beat against the walls, unsure if I'd just invited death into my shelter. When she awoke, she stared at me for a long time. "You are human," she said at last. "Yeah," I replied. "Private Malcolm Haines, Earth Federation." She didn't give her name, just nodded, then asked, "Do you have food?" I made her something simple, eggs and sent bacon. Real food was scarce, but I'd been saving some for emergencies. She sniffed it suspiciously. "No poison," I joked, handing her a fork. She took a single bite, then froze. Her pupils dilated, breath caught, and her silver-blue skin shimmered faintly along the arms. She looked at me like I'd done something forbidden. "You cooked this?" Yeah," I said. "I mean, I know it's not great, but you made this yourself." "Yeah." The alien woman stood, slowly, like she was dizzy. Her gaze never left mine. "In my culture," she said, voice suddenly deeper, "to prepare food for another is an act of extreme intimacy." "Oh," I said. She stepped closer. "An invitation." I blinked. "Wait. No, I mean..." She inhaled slowly, as if memorizing my scent. "And now, I feel something awakening." I backed up until my knees hit the bench. "Maybe it's just low blood sugar?" "No," she said, touching her stomach. "The warmth, the stirring. I thought it legend." "Legend?" Her hand rested against her chest, eyes fierce now, voice husky. "In our oldest mating rites, food shared freely by a potential mate was said to trigger bonding instincts, dormant emotions. Once awakened, they cannot be ignored." I was just being polite. I muttered. She tilted her head. "Then why did you season it?" I had no answer. Her name was Seyla, I eventually learned. She had been part of a diplomatic envoy ambush during the skirmishes. Her craft was shot down, and she barely survived the crash. As the days passed, we fell into rhythm. She slept on the cot. I took the bench. I gave her food, less because I wanted romance and more because I couldn't watch someone suffer. But every time I cooked, she watched me like it was a sacred ritual. Her gaze lingered too long. Her fingers brushed mine deliberately when taking a plate. Her eyes flickered every time I stirred something in the pan. I didn't know how to handle it. One night, after a meal of protein stew, she sat beside me and said softly, "You do not understand what you've done." "You keep saying that," I replied. "I have never had a mate," she said. "Ours is not a culture of gestures. We bond once for life. And the rite of nourishment, it is rare, sacred. You have begun it. My body recognizes you." I swallowed. "But you don't have to follow that instinct, right? I mean, you have free will." "Yes," she admitted. "But it is not just biology. It is soul. You fed me, cared for me, and now You are imprinted in my being. I didn't know what to say. Should I leave? She asked. No, I said too quickly. Then quieter, you're safe here. She reached out and placed a hand on my chest. Her touch was warm. Then let me stay close. It was strange how quickly comfort turned to connection. Seyla told me about her people's customs, their rituals, their dreams. She asked about Earth, about chocolate, about laughter. We talked late into the night, seated close by the heater. Her laugh was low and melodic. Sometimes she sat beside me just to watch me cook, her legs folded beneath her, eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. There was something old-fashioned about the way she looked at me, like she was watching a miracle unfold. One night, she placed her hand on mine as I stirred a pan of stew. You could take me, she said softly. If you wished, I would not resist. I froze. You don't owe me anything, I said. She nodded, but leaned in, her forehead touching mine. I want to owe you, she whispered. That night, she lay beside me on the cot. Nothing happened, not yet, but her hand found mine in the dark, and stayed there. The storm cleared on the 6th day. My comms blinked to life, crackling with static. Earth Command was sending a retrieval ship. I told Seyla. She nodded. You will leave. I'll ask them to take you too. I doubt they will, she said. I am an alien. And worse, I am bonded. I'll argue I promised. But when the ship came, Seyla hid. She waited beneath the floor hatch, listening as I spoke to the human officers. Just me here. I lied. No signs of movement. When the ship left without her, she climbed up and said nothing. Later that night, I found her outside, gazing at the stars. I didn't want to be cargo, she said, or a prisoner. I sat beside her. You're not. You're Seyla. She turned to me, silver eyes soft. Then take me, not because of instinct, but because you want to. And I did. I kissed her, and she kissed me like I was everything she'd ever dreamed of. 2 weeks later, the war shifted. Nulari diplomats returned. Negotiations reopened. I managed to send a message, a name, a plea, a promise. 3 months later, Seyla stood beside me under Earth's green sky, dressed not in armor but a soft blue gown. I cooked for her again, real Earth food this time. She smiled as she took the plate, eyes misted with emotion. Still awakening, she whispered, and I finally understood what she meant.